Hey everybody, welcome back to BobkeTV. Time once again for the Broom Wagon. Big show, lots of racing to get to. Milano-San Remo, Tirreno. Also we've got tweet of the week. Some good, some bad, some very ugly from Milano-San Remo. All of that up on the Broom Wagon. Okay, everybody, let's get right into the racing. Tirreno Adriatico. Michael Kwiatkowski restoring a little bit of luster to the Sky program in a tight battle in Milano-San Remo with Damiano Caruso. Caruso, a good ride to finish second from BMC. But Michael Kwiatkowski gets the win, defending the lead in the last time trial. Last time trial, very tough. Taken out, by the way, by a stomping Rowan Dennis, also from BMC. If Damiano Caruso had a little bit of Rowan Dennis's speed, it would have been a different finale, but Kwiatkowski defending the lead that he got. Interesting that Geraint Thomas on the receiving end of another stage win loss by his own teammate, Michael Kwiatkowski. So I guess the team will be racing for Kwiatkowski for the foreseeable future. Rowan Dennis, stomping, like I said, ride in the time trial. Tom Dumoulin, Rowan Dennis, the preeminent time trialists in the world today, and it just depends on who's having the better legs in the time trial as who is dominant. If there's some hills, it seems like Tom Dom has the advantage over Rowan. Tom Dumoulin, by the way, crashing out of Tirreno, so we didn't get a chance to see those riders go head-to-head in the final time trial, but Kwiatkowski winning Tirreno and giving himself a big boost of confidence coming into Milano-San Remo, which he won last year. Speaking of Milano-San Remo, let's get right into it. Vincenzo Nibali with an audacious attack on the Poggio. And let me just say something about Italian cyclists. Every single Italian cyclist that's ever lived has dreamt of going solo on the Poggio and holding off the peloton for a win on the line. And Vincenzo Nibali, who wasn't cheering for the Shark of Messina in the finale of Milano-San Remo? I hope nobody. I was on the edge of my seat screaming, which you're not supposed to do as a journalist, but I have to admit a little bias for Nibali going to the line in San Remo. I've done that race many times, could never quite solve the conundrum that is Milano-San Remo. Very dynamic, always dangerous in the finale. And the battle for position before the Cipressa, excuse me, and the Poggio, the last two climbs of the race, as intense in any bike race in professional cycling. And so to navigate through there, and then to have the legs to go on the attack on the Poggio, Vincenzo Nibali getting it done. Some interesting data coming to us from his Strava account, by the way. A lot of the riders uploading their Strava data. Not as fast as it's ever gone up the Poggio. Not as fast as the other riders descending. But those two segments together, he had just enough of an advantage to hold off the peloton in the closing meters, led, by the way, by some more good Caleb Ewan. But anyways, take nothing away from Vincenzo Nibali. He did a spectacular ride to win Milano-San Remo. Great for cycling, in my opinion. But you cannot deny that that is great for Italian cycling. It's been a long time since they won Milano-San Remo. I think it's been 12 years since an Italian won Milano-San Remo. And for Vincenzo Nibali, arguably the biggest star of Italian cycling to win, absolutely brilliant. Let's see, the bad, Michael Kwiatkowski. Michael Kwiatkowski quoted as saying, "They all fell asleep." But if you're the defending champion, maybe it's you who fell asleep. And perhaps your team was not strong enough to chase Vincenzo Nibali in the finale. If it had been Kwiatkowski off the front like he was last year, I think, to be honest, it's not a question of falling asleep. It's just a question of not seizing the moment like Nibali did. And if others could have followed, I'm sure they would, like Matteo Trentin tried to do throughout the rest of the finale. Peter Sagan quoted as saying, Vincenzo Nibali was the only rider with le palle. You can imagine what the translation is, who had the audacity to go on the attack. And I think if Peter had chased flat out, the field would have caught Vincenzo Nibali. But for Peter to do that, he probably would have sacrificed his chance at the win. So Peter had learned from his mistake last year of towing Kwiatkowski and Julian Alaphilippe to the line, and avoided that this year, but he still didn't get a chance to win because of that. But I think of the two scenarios, and Peter's alluded to this himself, this year's scenario is much more enjoyable for Peter Sagan than the rest. Caleb Ewan, field sprint win and so close to the victory. One extra couple of turns on the front of the chase group while Nibali was dangling off the front might have been the difference between him winning and getting second. And by the way, clean wheels to the field. And if it does come together in the last kilometer of Milano-San Remo and Caleb Ewan is there, he will win Milano-San Remo in his career. So a good win, a good second place by Caleb Ewan. And I think he's going to win a lot of races throughout 2018, which begs, we'll get to this in a second, who are the hot sprinters of the year? But the bad, let's get to the bad. Andre Greipel crashing and breaking his collarbone. And his classic season is done. So tough luck for Andre Greipel. It's a very hard sport. You can be at the top of your game and winning and crash and break your collarbone and then have to spend a number of weeks on the sidelines. Watch this quick video of a knucklehead leading into the road when Vincenzo Nibali is trying to win Milano-San Remo. And everybody in Italy, every single person in Italy is watching this. I mean, people have heard across the whole country that Nibali's attacked on the Poggio and is trying to win solo with the chasing group hot on his heels. Oh man, like, come on. Keep your cell phones off the race course. Heaven forbid I should ever be trying to take a selfie out on the race course and have one of the riders crash into it. Nibali got around that and went on to the win. But come on, everybody. This was a real problem in the Tour de France a couple years ago, and it seemed to be not so bad, but I have a feeling that it's going to plague cycling for many, many years to come. But fortunately, Nibali was able to take the call and go on for the win. Now to the ugly. And if we go back to my last broom wagon and seeing the travails that Mark Cavendish has gone through this year, I didn't think that it was a good idea for Mark to start Milano-San Remo. He's already won in his career, as I said, and very, like I just mentioned, dangerous. And a lot of times the crashes are, it's just 100% pure luck. You can be in a perfect position, and the chaos of the race will take you out. So Mark Cavendish comes into this roundabout just before the Poggio, which, by the way, was not there when I was racing. A lot of the road furniture was not there when I was racing. And nowadays, there's so much road furniture that you have to be hyper aware all the time. And if you have a momentary lapse of focus or concentration, you can go down. But this is not what happened to Mark Cavendish. There absolutely should have been a marshal in front of the bollard that Mark Cavendish had hit. And if you look at the roundabout, trees and shrubs growing up in the middle of it. So as you're coming down the road, you cannot see around it. So generally, you come to a roundabout, you just have an extra sense while paying attention to all the riders around you going Mach 10 of what's to come on the other side. And those trees and bushes in between the roundabout and what was on the other side of it made it impossible to see, which is critical if you're the race organizer, to have a marshal there with a flag and a whistle, alerting the riders that there is no moment to relax, that when you come out of the roundabout, there's going to be an obstacle. None was there, and that's a fault of the race organizers, not Mark Cavendish at all. I don't believe that Mark, his previous injuries contributed to this. I just had a bad feeling that the bad luck would continue to plague him, and oh my God, broke another rib, and I didn't seem like the previous broken rib took too much out of him. He was in good position, closing 6 Ks to go in Milano-San Remo, which is, by the way, 300 kilometers long. So I was pretty impressed that Mark Cavendish was still there, still in with the shout. It might have gone all sideways on the Poggio, but it's a real shame that he won't get a chance to do that. And I have to say, this is not Mark's fault. That could have happened to any rider in the field in that particular roundabout and Baller just after it. But best of luck to Mark Cavendish to recuperate. Hopefully at this point he has some time to get back to 100%, not 98%. And 100% is what's required to win Milano-San Remo. Vincenzo Nibali came ready to rumble. He's done Milano-San Remo a number of times in his career and finally came up with the goods. Catalunya, Volta Catalunya, a tough early season stage race in Spain. Not a lot of opportunities for the sprinters, but we have perhaps another sprint star from Colombia, Alvaro Jode, races for Quick Step in the absence of Marcel Kittel, who's changed teams, and their other sprint sensation from also so many fast riders from Colombia, Fernando Gaviria. Where do they keep finding these kids? Alvaro Jode, 21 years old. He just won a couple of days ago, one day, semi-classic in Belgium, Hadzame, and came out of nowhere to win that, and going so fast. Look at Hadzame, some more good from the racing schedule, but in stage number 1 of Catalunya, supreme, and a huge advantage at the line. Not the biggest names in the sprint game there, like I said, Catalunya, which we'll get to at the next broom wagon when that is all said and done, but a sterling win for the young sprinter from Colombia. We're going to hear a lot about this young rider again. 21 years old, man, wow. I had barely started racing bikes when I was 21, not winning World Tour races. A perfect lead out by Michael Morkov of the Quick Step squad. So another sensational sprinter to keep an eye on, and that was a very, very good win. Good teamwork, and finished off perfectly by Alvaro Jode. Write that name down. He's going to be winning a lot of races in the years to come. All right, everybody. Next up, the Neutral Zone News. Neutral Zone News, a terrible report coming to us from Colombia. The professional cyclist Oscar Sevilla attacked by thieves. His bicycle, his helmet, and his glasses stolen. 5 men jumping out of a taxi cab, attacking Oscar and stealing his race equipment, his bicycle and helmet and glasses, and breaking his arm in the attack. They did not steal his cell phone, so Oscar was able to alert his wife. A good Samaritan stopped and took Oscar to the hospital, where he's now recovering from this attack. And terrible, terrible happenstance from Colombia. Professional cyclists maybe face more danger than any other professional athletes on earth. Anything can happen. I mean, it's bad enough. People are on their cell phones and aggressive and knock cyclists over on purpose with their cars. And to be attacked by thieves. And let's hope they can catch these guys. Jumping out of a cab, there has got to be some witnesses that can identify the cab company, and then they can look at the log and hopefully these thieves will be brought to justice as soon as possible, and hopefully Oscar can recuperate from his injuries, and especially the emotional damage that something like this would cause anybody. And Oscar can get back to training. Oscar Sevilla, by the way, 41 years old, still looks like a teenager, by the way. He was racing in Winston-Salem, the Winston-Salem Classic last summer. Got a chance to talk to him. Was riding very well then. So that might be 2 years ago now. Don't quote me on that. But let's hope that Oscar can get back to his best as soon as possible. Also, in the Neutral Zone news, the Les Amis de Paris-Roubaix, that's a volunteer group that maintains and preserves the cobble sectors of Paris-Roubaix, hard at work this spring repairing a stretch of cobbles. Take a look at this photograph. Very impressive masonry and road working. This group of people have kept the cobbles intact so that Paris-Roubaix, the queen of the classics, can happen. Important work. If you love Paris-Roubaix, maybe think about donating to this group, the Friends of Paris-Roubaix. I don't know if they have a way to charitably donate to them, but I'm going to look into that. At least if you visit, find some of these guys and buy them some beer. But hard work to keep the cobbles going. The Ehrenberg Forest is closed to traffic throughout the year, except for one day of Paris-Roubaix to automobiles. The rest of the sectors, as far as I know, open to daily traffic. And so very tough to keep those sections maintained. So a big gratitude to the Friends of Paris-Roubaix that maintain the cobbles and give us the incredible spectacle that Paris-Roubaix is. All right, next up, tweet of the week. Tweet of the week coming to us from Larry Warbass. Larry Warbass, the current national champion of the United States, had a great year in 2017 and looking to continue that success in 2018 with the Aqua Blue Sports Squad. Little bit of a snowstorm. Training at altitude over in Europe, and Larry Warbass doing some core workout, by the way, side benefit, to shoveling snow, which he grew up doing in Michigan, so he's well practiced. The kit, I'm not sure if that's approved snow removal attire in his, it looks like his racing kit, but at least for training. But Larry Warbass, facing some of the weather that has plagued Europe this spring, has been a very tough spring, and let's hope that promises a very mild summertime for the whole professional peloton. And when the sun does start to shine, the professional peloton will most certainly have earned it. Larry, don't throw your back out shoveling snow, and keep plugging away. In those kind of winters, you spend so many hours on the indoor trainers. It can get kind of monotonous, but the tough guys persevere, and Larry Warbass is one of them. All right, everybody, that's the end of Broomwagon for this week. Subscriptions, whoo! Got to keep them coming in if I'm going to be able to continue doing BobkeTV. I'm going to make an announcement later on this summer about how many subscribers I need to continue doing BobkeTV. The number might surprise you, but we'll see what it is when we get there. Thanks a lot, everybody, for tuning in. Until next time.